Oh, it's the Shut Your Mouth Lounge, episode number 286. If things sound different than they usually do, that's because this is the first episode in a long time that's been recorded by me, Alex. Because Atty is busy on vacation.
Yes,
And there's the Pink. Pink,
it is the pink.
how do you feel about the vacationing?
I mean, I'd like a vacation.
Would you though?
I don't know.
I'm not big on travel.
I'm not big on travel either. I don't like the traveling part of travel. Getting to the travel part of travel is fine, but the actual traveling, not a fan of it.
I think it helps. Travel is more tolerable if you actually find the place you're going to interesting. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
Mostly when my family wants to travel, it's like, okay, strap in. We're going 5 hours to a beach. Okay, is it a special beach? Is it like somewhere cool? No, it's a beach in Carolina. Oh, but there's a lighthouse there. It's historic. Okay, good for the people that saved back in the day. Like it's the unfortunate thing of being associated as a history buff is that people then tend to assume that anything that is old is of interest to you. And it's like no, actually, there's a lot of old things that I don't care about.
Right, right.
Nonetheless, aside from me being an ungrateful shit, let's see here. Do you have anything coming out on your channel this week, Pink?
Oh yeah, I definitely got stuff coming out on the channel. There was supposed to be Gladius coming out on Friday, and then we had a power outage out here in Texas because we had some wild storms, which I briefly mentioned yesterday via Discord.
I believe
So
we caught the rear end of them here, and it came in as hail.
yeah, we didn't have any hailstorms that night. We actually, ironically enough, we had a hailstorm like the day before, but on like Thursday night, Friday morning, we had just these monster storms with almost hurricane force like winds out here, and it knocked down a bunch of trees, caused a bunch of power outages. We've got like 140,000 people without power right now. I'm one of the
Sheesh.
lucky ones that actually does have power. So yeah, it was not a good Friday, not a good Friday morning.
It doesn't
It's a
sound like
blackout
no.
Friday. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, Gladius was supposed to come out on Friday, and the power outage caused that to not come out. So that should be coming out when I get around to re-uploading it, because I imagine the YouTube would have say usually if a upload via YouTube goes wrong, like the internet blows up or something. Usually it saves the progress, which I don't know how it does, but it saves the progress, and all you have to do is upload the video again, and then it'll recognize the file that you're uploading, and it's like, oh yeah, the same file. It's just didn't upload the whole way the first time, so let's finish it up this time. So that's nice. I'll try to get that one uploaded like later today or Sunday. Depends on when I want to use the internet, because I don't like uploading things when I'm playing a game that requires internet connection, like Dead by Daylight or Street Fighter,
Yeah.
because I don't want my internet to get throttled or anything. But yeah, Gladius will be coming up. I think it's gonna be the final episode of the first session we did, and then there will be more Gladius throughout the week, because we did just do Gladius the other day.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, I will probably be uploading NXT Universe Mode over the week as well, because I do have a episode or two of that in the backlog right now. I might have the recent DLC showcases coming out. Well, maybe not showcases, not the word I should use, because that's a legitimate thing. NXT, pardon me. DLC spotlight, I suppose I could call it.
Yeah, that's a word
With
I use a lot.
with the new NXT characters that they have, plus Harley Race. Because
Yeah.
I did record an episode where I played as Harley Race, and when I watched it back, I realized, oh, all these settings that Addy had me change when we did our Assassin's Creed playthrough, that screwed up everything else that I recorded, so that's not good. Because the audio was out of sync. I had like 2 instances of the video game audio, so like there's an echo sound effect as well, and the game audio is like 2 seconds behind the actual visuals, which looks terrible. So
Yeah.
I had to tinker with OBS for a solid afternoon there to get everything back to work. But yeah, I think everything has been reset to the vanilla standard settings that I had them at. So if I do feel so inclined, I will definitely be trying to get those videos on the new characters done and put out. So expect that on my YouTube channel. I don't know at what frequency, but expect them. So that's
And
gonna be Gladius 2K22, 23 rather. And Street Fighter. Street Fighter will also be coming out on the channel. I'm gonna try to upload that ASAP. I hope to have that up by Sunday or Monday, because that's good stuff and it's relevant to the times.
yes.
And that
So
should be all I've got coming out on my channel.
in the Harley Race video, will he be showing off that crazy taunt counter thing he does?
I will be now that I know it exists.
All right.
The first episode I didn't do hardly anything with him because I didn't know what moves he had, and which was fine because the video lasted like 7 minutes in a squash match, and
Heh.
yeah, that was one that had the OBS issues with it, so that got scrapped anyway. And so that actually was to my benefit because now I know that there's a unique taunt in there, and I actually know what moves Harley Ace has now that I've played through with him. So it'll be better. It worked out for the better.
It helps to know that what. Okay, hang on. I was about to say something. Okay, so there is a clip that I believe you put on the Discord of a Wendy Chu match in 2K23 where Wendy Chu just simply falls off the turnbuckle.
Yeah.
Okay, is that a I was about to say that must be Harley's diving headbutt. Then it occurred to me, Wendy
No,
Chu.
no.
Yeah, Wendy Chu. For one thing, Harley did get a little bit of a jump in his headbutt. He didn't just plummet by himself. As funny
Yeah.
as that would be. Well, he did plummet sometimes, but nonetheless, it would make more sense for Wendy to just plummet from the turnbuckle because her whole gimmick is that she falls asleep.
Yeah.
Okay. I was about to make like some kind of joke about actually make sure the opponent's close to the turnbuckle when you do that with Harley, but no, that's something to worry about with Wendy.
Yeah, yeah. I know for a fact that Harley says I think it might be two. He has at least one, but it might be two diving headbutts that came with his DLC, so that's cool.
Come
And
to think of
as
it,
far as I'm aware, neither of them require you to land on top of your opponent 2 inches away from the turnbuckle. So that's nice.
I want to say because I was trying to think like Harley did some kind of unique way that he dived off the turnbuckle, where most people would rocket off the top and then pivot in midair to being lateral. Harley, I've not seen a lot of Harley matches, but wouldn't Harley kind of fall off the turnbuckle and turn lateral? But then when he was starting to turn lateral, then he would kick off the turnbuckle. Like he would kick off the front of the turnbuckle rather than the top.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was weird. Nonetheless, yeah, I've not popped up open 2K23 in a hot minute, but the Harley Race DLC is definitely tempting me because that's one guy I've always wanted to be in the video games who has not been in since.
I don't know
Has
that Harley Race has ever been in a game.
Harley was in Here Comes the Pain, wasn't he?
No.
Oh, was he in Legends of WrestleMania?
Possibly. I've never played one of the Legends of WrestleMania games, so I don't know those rosters.
Well, if he was in Legends of WrestleMania, then he would have had to have been in SVR 2009.
That's true. That's true. I'll have to do research on that.
But nonetheless, yeah, that's all very cool. Let's see. On my channel, I will be putting out in this coming week Shock of Shocks, Gladius playing it with you.
What? We played that?
I don't remember it either. Street Fighter playing it with you, as well as continuing my own instances of playing the Gladius single player, trying out the Sisters of Battle. They're a bit interesting. They're a bit weird. They get what? So they are kind of like Space Marines light. They're kind of like Diet Space Marines.
Right.
They have one city that can expand out to a 3 tile radius, right?
Yeah.
But rather than having the ability to put Forces of Redemption down all over the map that build their one city, they aren't Venice. Instead, they can found more cities, but each of those cities can only expand out to a single tile radius.
Oh. Okay.
And every tile that they take in on a city gives a loyalty. It's a little bit odd.
Yeah.
I've not got to fully see the implications of it. But nonetheless, I'll be uploading that. I'll be uploading more Street Fighter 6 online ranked gameplay.
Nice.
It's pretty nice. It's pretty satisfying to play against people who are supposed to be around your own skill level. Probably
I
gonna
don't
be.
believe you.
Yeah, I'm gonna be trying out more people other than Zangief, as there are a lot of characters in 6. Excuse me, not in 5. There's a lot of characters in 5 I don't want to touch. No, there's a lot of characters in 6 who I've not wanted to touch in the past, but are much more interesting to me in 6. Dalsim, I did not try until we were playing yesterday, and I was surprised by how cool I thought Dalsim was.
Mm.
So expect more of that. I want to say I had something else loaded up, but don't recall. And I currently have the group channel open to look at rather than my own, so let's assume I don't have anything else loaded up. If I do, it'll be a surprise.
Nice. I love surprises.
So, on the Devolution channel, on Monday, Fire Pro. Boy, we've got those stocked up till the end of time. On Tuesday, me and Addy playing Street Fighter 6. On Friday, it is 2 or 3 of us, I don't remember how many of us were there for this particular video, playing Capcom versus SNK 2.
Ah. I might be there for that one, but I might not be, because I know you guys recorded that with and without me. So who knows which time this was.
Yeah, it's listed as part 2, but I don't remember if me and Addy recorded enough, because that first session of CVS2, I remember was specifically just me and him. But I don't know if we recorded just enough for one video or for several.
Right.
Nonetheless, there you go. Fire Pro, Street Fighter, and CVS2. The wrestling
Very
and the
nice.
fightings. Alright. Pink.
Yay!
As if I would be talking to anyone else here. What you been up to this past week?
What have I been up to? Probably not all that much. I obviously briefly played the 2K23 game, obviously, because I
Yeah.
recorded stuff with the universe mode, and then I played a match with Harley Race. I have not touched any of the other characters yet, because as I said, I had OBS issues, and then I just never got around to playing them. And this all also coincided with the day that we got the storms, so that was not good. That kind of put everything on the back burner until we got power back. Also, around the same time, the exact same time, because this was the exact same, like, 2-3 day time span, I finally picked up Street Fighter 6 and played that a little bit. Did some versus matches versus AI with Cammy. She still plays like Cammy, which is great. I did
Yes.
the arcade mode with Cammy. It's an arcade mode with Cammy. It's great. And then I did the world tour mode, not with Cammy, and it was abysmal. I was punching myself in the face in real life because I was like, "Why am I playing this? This is horrible. I don't like this at all. I hate the mini map. I hate navigating the town or city rather, because it doesn't really qualify as a town. It's a city, and I was just having such a rough, terrible time with it that I wanted to cry. And then I went to Google and just searched up a walkthrough or whatever on GameFAQs from 2001, and it made the process so much smoother.
They were really prescient folk in 2001.
Yeah, yeah, innovators of their time. But yeah, World Tour. I was not having fun because I was playing as Chun Li or in the style of Chun Li for 75% of it, and as Luke, I think, for the other 25% when you start the game.
Yeah.
And I don't like either of those play styles. Luke is boring. Chun Li is I've never vibed with. I mean, I like her thighs, but that's about it. And if I'm playing her style without the thighs, like why even bother? Except with the character creator, I could probably make her thighs. Never mind. I
Yeah.
need to get on that. I'm I was about to say wrestling. I'm fighting as the Blanca mascot right now, and I don't feel the need to change. It's great.
Oh, where do you get the Blanca suit? I've not found the Blanca suit.
When you first meet Blanca in Brazil, I am pretty sure you get the suit.
Ah, I see. Damn it. Yeah, I need to
It's
get back to
great.
World Tour so I can actually unlock some damn costumes.
It's great. I loved it. I don't understand Blanca. Blanca probably doesn't understand me, but I love the mascot suit. It's great.
Yeah,
And
I want to say it's just that like some merchandising guy, like the gimmick is just some merchandising guy ran into him in the wilds and was like, "I'm gonna make you into a mascot," and Blanca was like, "Whoa!" And then Blanca
Blanca,
turned into a ball.
oh yeah, great. I actually adopted Blanca's playstyle for all of like 30 minutes because after meeting Blanca, I finally acquired the side quest for Cammy like immediately thereafter. So, I mean, I don't know how Blanca's playstyle is because I've only played him like once or twice in the previous games and a match of this game. But I was quick to adopt him and quick to drop him as well because Cammy's the style that I vibe with very well across these series, and that's just what I'm comfortable with. So as soon as I got her, it's like dump everything. This is my character now, and it made the world tour so much easier and nicer to play through because now I actually get to play with a style that I'm familiar with and can actually do stuff with. I don't have to hold back on the control stick for an hour before I can launch a spinning heel kick or whatever. It's great. I love it. And what was I? Oh, that's what I was going to parlay into. And I've only got a few hours in World Tour at the moment. It probably is a lot more than I think it is, but it's also probably a lot less than it actually is because I was basically playing Street Fighter 6 on a side monitor while I was doing all my Googling and YouTubing. So I thought it would take a long ass time to get Cammy to the maximum bond level to get her classic costume. It actually hasn't taken that much time at all. The jellied eels that Addie told me to buy her are super expensive and it's terrible. But you know, after mugging some people in the city and obtaining some minerals and other items that I can sell on the black market, It's been relatively easy to keep a steady supply of jellied eels for Cammy to ingest or whatever.
Good lord.
I just have a nice cycle going. It's go to the city, mug a bunch of people, maybe smack some Animal Crossing party boxes down from the heavens, sell everything I've got in the black market, go to Brazil, buy jellied eels, fly to London, give the jellied eels to Cammy, fly back to the city, repeat the process over and over again. Cammy's currently at like green bubble 4 out of 5, so I'm almost there. I've almost got classic Cammy, and then I consider the game beat properly. I don't care what else World Tour has to offer. This is the only reason I'm here.
Yeah. It occurs to me now, though, with what Eddie says of to get the costumes, just load up the characters with their favorite things. I did look up a little guide on whatever character's favorite things was, and it was like a day after launch. So the guide for several of the instances was like, "What's Ryu's favorite object? We don't know."
Ha!
But nonetheless, for Luke's favorite object is a copy of Resident Evil 8, or well, it's not called Resident Evil, but it's explicitly Resident Evil 8.
Red elevator.
Yeah, Red Elevator 8. It's like, wait, so I just buy Luke 10 copies of Resident Evil 8? Is he going to play all of them?
That's a good question.
Is this like that Nintendo DS game that you can't delete the saves? So whenever you beat it, if you hand it off to someone else, the game's just like already done?
Yeah.
Boy, that was an interesting console, huh?
It wasn't nearly as interesting as. I'm trying to think of something Nintendo did. There had to be something. Had to. No, I guess not. What is the weirdest console that Nintendo made, do you think? It's got to be between the not Switch, between the what was the second Wii U? It's got to it's got to be between the Wii U and something else.
Ah. I mean, the Wii U was a failure, but that doesn't necessarily mean it was like super weird.
I guess you're not wrong there. If anything, the Switch might be weirder. But I don't know, cuz they still have that gimmick where you play a game on the TV, but you've also got the game on your gamepad to act as well. I guess that's kind of just a very fat extension of the original DS, which had a dual monitor as well. So I guess not.
Yeah. Hmm. Well, I mean, I don't know if it counts as a whole console, but the Virtual Boy.
Yeah, yeah. that
That great piece of ahead of its
that piece
time, but
of
not
art.
really technology.
That was those were dark times.
Oh, yeah. Especially if you were actually looking into the Virtual Boy, it was really dark. Ah. Nonetheless,
Nonetheless, World Tour. Played through it. It was fun. I mean, it wasn't, but then it was. And Street Fighter 6, I'm really enjoying the gameplay of it. What the heck? Sorry, I was looking at a news article. The blurb is potential Tasmanian tiger recorded in California backyard, which just shouldn't be possible for a multitude of reasons. Anyway, Street Fighter 6, very fun. I love the control scheme. The modern control scheme, I should specify. And I'm not going to get any backlash because Addie's not here. I timed this perfectly to, I heard
yeah,
Addie
I was
wasn't
about
going
to
to be on
say.
this week's podcast. So I was like, okay, now I'm going to buy Street Fighter 6 so I can talk about it on the podcast and not receive any backlash for appreciating the modern controls. Because I find them to be quite nice for my novice hands.
Like, Addy's had a little bit of it. Like, I don't want to just dunk on him while he's not here. But Addy's had a little bit of that attitude of the bit I posted in the fighting game part of the Discord of I'm sick of being beaten by people who aren't better than me. That kind of
Right.
attitude, right?
Yeah, yeah. But I
Which, I
was
mean,
sick of being beat by people who were better than me, so my how the turntables.
people have different priorities for fighting games. Like, it's already been discussed. Like, Addy does not really care about the strategy or getting better aspect so much as, and this is what Addy himself says, he just wants to see cool things done. And he believes that cool things are not cool things if you did not work for them. And he believes that if you're on the modern playstyle, you do not work for what you get.
Right, whereas I'm in the opposite boat from him, where I also like to see the cool things, but I like the ease of access for people like me who can't do the cool things to finally be allowed to do the cool things without having to put in all the effort. Because, like,
Yeah.
I work a full time job, 40 hours a week. I don't have time to invest into fighting games to learn all these combinations that I'm going to forget the very next day. Because, you know, I play fighting games very casually. I've memorized Cammy's inputs because I've played her for years upon years upon years and just forced myself to get good at her, or quote unquote good at her, because she's the
Yeah.
only one I like. But still, like the average person like me, like I just don't think fighting games are all that welcoming to newcomers or people not used to the controls. So if the fact that they've implemented controls to make it more welcoming, I fully support and fully appreciate and love quite dearly.
Yeah. The well, I guess guess that's pretty well says it all, don't it?
I guess so.
Hmm. Well, in that case, did you hit anything else?
No, not with my
Did
fists
you
anyway.
continue playing Link's Awakening?
No, I've not played on my Switch this week, unfortunately.
Okay. All right then. Well, let's see. For my week, let's see. Well, I've been watching a few old wrestling matches.
Oh
I've watched.
no, not the old ones.
Oh yes, yeah. I've been watching a lot. I've been watching quite a bit of Nick Bockwinkel.
Yes, I know Nick Bockwinkel.
Yes, interesting guy.
Very.
The matches I've seen like a good several that were in the AWA. They were against the likes of Dusty Rhodes coming over from Florida, a baby Hulk Hogan, Stan Hansen, Sergeant Slaughter,
Oh no.
and he worked a very slow, methodical kind of style. With Hogan, of course, he had to work more of the classic babyface and heel. Babyface gets his comeback deal because it's Hogan.
Right, yeah.
And Slaughter wasn't all that different for that matter either, come to think of it.
I've never seen a Sergeant Slaughter match that I enjoyed.
He threw a mean clothesline against Iron Sheik that one time. And that clip will live forever. But then I also saw some matches that Bockwinkel went over and had in All Japan. Against Jumbo Tsuruta, it was again very slow, hold based affair, which was kind of all the rage back then. It was the late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah, yeah.
But he had one match, I believe it was him and I forget who his tag partner was. It might have been Harley against Stan Hansen and Bruiser Brody. And
Oh
it's like,
my.
oh, yeah, if there's anyone who's not going to work your slow hold based wrestling in the mid 80s, it's the team of Stan Hansen and Bruiser fucking Brody.
Right?
And I was kind of figuring, like, ooh, Bockwinkel's going to be a little bit lost here. No, he kept him. Bockwinkel can do brawls.
All right.
Oh, I also saw a match it was like 93. And it was in that Japanese shoot-based federation, UWF. It was him versus Billy Robinson. And for
Now,
one
who the
thing,
heck is Billy Robinson?
Billy Robinson, old English catch wrestler kind of guy. His stuff looked very real, but he was in bad shape for pretty well his entire career. He was always a bit fat.
Ah,
And at least from the interviews I've heard with Billy Graham, he was kind of an asshole. Little bit of a we need to keep wrestling real stiff shooter type.
ah,
I'd seen a couple UWF matches before, but the style really isn't for me because it's trying like UWF was on some level MMA in its infancy, right? And it was worked, of course, just like MMA, but nonetheless, like the idea was to try and make something like pro wrestling where it's two dudes in a ring and there's not any stylistic limits. You can punch and kick and throw in holds and suplex people and all that.
yeah,
But they wanted to take a more realistic tone to it where there wasn't wind up punches and stuff that was a bit more common in those days.
yeah.
And famously, the UWF was made when Akira Maeda went and just kicked Riki Choshu full square in the face with the flat of his foot and broke his orbital bone.
Wrestling.
Because, yeah. Well, because Maeda said, what the fuck, I'm losing to all these guys that I could beat in real life in a shoot fight, and I guess nobody ever sat Akira Maeda down and explained, well, asshole, it's because you don't draw like they do. So yeah, Maeda, Nobuhiko Takada, and Tiger Mask all said, fuck this, we could beat any of these fools with our hands tied behind our backs. Let's make a wrestling federation where the guy who's booked on the top is the guy who's actually the best shoot fighter, or whatever. Which I assume did not last, because backstage politics are always a thing in wrestling, but that's that.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, it's a bit of a slow wrestling style that tends to boil down a lot to the cross arm bar. Because in a real fight, most of these things boil down to the cross arm bar. Because if you know how to do the cross arm bar, it's kind of unbeatable. Oh, man. Nonetheless, yeah, Bockwinkel's good. I would be curious to select. He called it pretty well in '86. That '93 match was like a special post-retirement event. I would have been curious to see him keep working past that and see him work more high-speed, exciting matches.
Yeah.
Because he showed that he could do that just fine. It's just that back in those days, especially, you threw on a headlock, and a lot of people get this stuff confused and think like, oh well, you throw on the headlock because you're tired or because you're lazy.
Right.
Like, no, you throw on the headlock because it gets the fans to start going like, get out of the headlock, come on, and start stamping their feet and clapping and the whole deal.
Yeah.
And
it gives you the suspense.
Yeah, and there's still some wrestlers that understand it now.
Yeah.
I mean, I throw a lot of insults at the Usos, but Jay does understand the value of the headlock. He's one of the few wrestlers now who I can think of distinctively as a guy who uses the headlock to build up to the comeback.
Yeah.
And, of course, about a year ago, there was that match at Money in the Bank that was them versus the Street Profits where they locked on that headlock and Montez just didn't sell it.
Uh-huh. Oh, man. What a match.
Yeah, like, that was otherwise like, that match was so bizarre because Montez was just having a horrible night and Angelo was having a great one.
Uh-huh.
Like, I don't even know what Montez's problem was. He was honestly, like, that was the most rest-holdy psychology I've ever seen a wrestler just outwardly display of. Tez is just like, all right, yeah, Jay's gonna lock this in for a little bit. I guess I'll just sit here.
I'll just sit here and contemplate life.
Yeah. Roman gets it. Roman also gets the working hold.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Roman cheats, though, because nobody calls his holds rest holds because Roman makes sure to go and talk to the mic during his holds.
That is true.
Like, Roman's one of the few who will still keep proactively working during the hold.
Yeah.
Nonetheless. Let's see, did I see any other wrestling worth talking about? No. Though, did you see the highlight from last night's SmackDown?
I saw several highlights from last night's SmackDown.
The only ones I saw were the end of the Yoshirai versus who was it? It wasn't Shotzi. But yeah, I saw that Bailey accidentally screwed over Yoshirai again.
Right.
And anyone calling for Zelina Vega to win that Money in the Bank match is crazy.
But she's Puerto Rican, and they're going back to Puerto Rico.
And she got a big pop.
And she got a big pop, very big Puerto Rican pop. And
so
Damian Priest is also going to win Money in the Bank because he is also Puerto Rican.
And Carlito is coming back and he's taking all the belts because he's Puerto Rican.
He's taking all the belts from Roman Reigns. All of them. You thought it would be Jey Uso? Wrong. You thought it would be Sami Zayn? Wrong. You thought it would be Cody Rhodes? Wrong. It's Carlito, baby.
Carlito Colon. See, what they didn't tell us was Vince didn't get retired. Carlos called in a hit, and they've been propping up Vince's corpse ever since. That's why they had to paint the horrible black mustache on to cover up the fucking necrosis. Good lord. Can you think of anyone who has just gotten away with it worse than Carlos Colon?
No. I mean, I could try to come up with somebody, but I cannot think of anybody.
Because, even, Jimmy Snuka, I mean, for one thing, they did try to bring him back to court. It just so happened that it came too late, so he could get out on basis of being horribly brain damaged by decades of the most insane drug use imaginable.
Right.
The kinds of levels of
drug abuse. Then he died like a year later.
The kinds of levels of drug abuse where the Iron Sheik goes, no, that's too much, Bubba. But, Jimmy, you can still say karma came back around for Jimmy, though.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Jimmy wasn't all there when he did that, and he didn't get better.
Uh-huh.
First ever ECW champion.
Still so strange to hear that.
Yeah. Hard to think of a greater mark of shame than that.
Well, I guess there's a reason ECW went under now.
Yeah. Well, ECW just, they just happened to step out to take a piss on the side of the road and fell over.
Yeah.
Yeah, come and think of it. In the talk of guys who just got the fuck away with it, Paul.
That's a good point.
We're watching him on TV every week.
Yeah. He's getting paid handsomely every week.
Yeah.
It's messed up.
Granted, people are never going to care when the primary person complaining about you stealing from them is Sonny.
Yeah. That's a fact.
If Candido was still kicking, I think people would care. But the moment Candido died, then everybody was like, okay, now we don't care what happens to Sonny.
Right.
Nonetheless, the other highlight was the Usos and Roman. Jay plays up he's staying with the bloodline. He turns to Jimmy and he says, Jimmy, you are out of the bloodline. And the crowd goes, just boos all around. And then Jay says, and so am I. Whips around, super kicks Roman. Big pop. And I loved in that clip. Did you see the bit in the clip that Solo kind of looks like, oh, what the fuck?
Yeah, yeah.
Again, Tarantino-esque.
Mm-hmm.
Tarantino would direct the same scene, except instead of a super kick, it would be Jay whipping around and shooting Roman in the head. But still.
Yeah.
There was a particular part in Django Unchained that more or less goes down like that.
Ha.
Or alternatively, everyone's favorite. Oh man, I just shot Marvin in the face.
Yeah.
Why the fuck did you do that? Oh, man. Nonetheless, yeah, that was... Okay, it needs to be mentioned. I did see the clip following that where Roman gets back up and he eats a double super kick.
Yeah,
and Roman decides I'm gonna do the slam my head into the mat as hard as possible sell.
and die. And
Yeah,
die.
like Roman sold that double super kick like it was a fucking shotgun blast.
Yep.
Like it was such a sell. It's almost like Roman went instantly from being straight up to lateral. Like it almost
Yeah.
looked like in a video game an animation bug that skipped a couple frames.
The Havoc physics system screwed up.
Yeah, Roman hits the map. His arm accidentally clips into the mat. He starts like vibrating all around the ring. Starts playing the Gary's Mod collision noises like nuts.
Right.
The wet meat slapping of ragdolls going nuts. And the great thing is, I know that you know that sound effect, but you don't know it so much from Gary's Mod, so much as you know it from that little animated dude that you and Addie were showing me before.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because he uses that sound effect like nuts.
Yep.
Oh man, it's a pretty great time to be a wrestling fan. Because there's great stuff going
Yeah.
on in WWE, and in AEW we get to laugh distantly at what's going on. My God, I don't think Meltzer's blown his own asshole open quite like this in a while than he did on Thursday. Tomorrow there's gonna be an interview that comes out with Punk and well, excuse me, hang on, I gotta talk like Meltzer. Tomorrow there's gonna be a interview with Punk that comes out. And I think yeah, I don't think a lot of people are gonna be happy about it. There's gonna be stuff that upsets people. Yeah. Then Alvarez speaks up and says, "I hate that fucking CM Punk. I love the Young Bucks. Dave, you old shit, just say it." Nonetheless, the interview comes out the next day, and Punk says nothing offensive except that the reason that match with Hangman sucked was because he was worried that Hangman was going to shoot on him, which, fair. Because had Hangman already shot on him?
Well, why?
I knew Hangman had shot on him in promos. But like he just said, like, yeah, I apologize to Tony for bringing this shit on his company. I tried to reach out to Omega and the Bucks, but they didn't call me back. And it's like this really upsets people, Dave.
Oh no. This puts the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega in a bad light. Oh no.
Like, you cannot say even the most mild of bad things about them. They didn't return a call. How dare you, sir?
This has gone too far, you know. I was all on board with CM Punk signing with AEW for the longest time, but now that this info has come out, you know, I just don't know that I can support this man anymore. You know, it was one thing that he was a raging ass clown beforehand, but now mentioning the fact that Kenny Omega and the Bucks don't answer their phone, oh, just despicable, just despicable. I had to unfollow him on Twitter. I had to block his MyFace. I had to, you know, report him on Steam for cheating in Gary's mod. It's just like it's just so. This was my childhood hero, and now I just have to excommunicate him. There's no coming back from this. I can't deal with this. I can't deal with this stress. I'm about to cry. I need to cry myself to sleep.
I've injected the poison into AEW. Oh boy, yeah, that's. Hey Punk, when you come back to WWE, can you bring some of the cooler guys from AEW with you? Can you like stuff MJF and Danhausen in your backpack before you leave?
Yeah,
Hop in the
smuggle them
back.
in like cocaine.
hop in the back of FTR's truck and get the fuck out of there. And I'm imagining one of the Bucks chasing after the truck, waving his fist in the air. No, he still has the belt! Uh, yeah, that's. Ah, what was it? I saw. Who was it that they're. Oh my god, right. There, that was also. Not to keep the train up of just pointing and laughing at AEW, but. Forbidden Doors coming up. So
Oh yeah?
who do we pick out of the AEW locker room as a great hot talent to put up against the IWGP champion as a tremendous showcase of AEW's roster? We got some real hot stars here. Oh, it's Jungle Boy.
Really?
Jungle Boy against the IWGP champion.
Now, who is the IWGP champion at this moment?
To be fair, it is Sonata, and Sonata I don't think has ever been relevant to the West ever.
True.
But it's like, okay,
But Jungle Boy?
yeah.
Has Jungle Boy ever won a championship in AEW?
I don't know. I know he challenged Jericho for the World Championship.
Yeah, but we all knew he wasn't winning that match. Come on now.
Oh god, yeah. Well,
That's gotta be insulting for IWGP to be IWGP and J. What is it?
I was just call
NJPW.
it New Japan. It's super
New
awkward.
Japan. Yeah, that's easier. That's easier on the tongue. Easier on the brain. So that's got to be kind of insulting to New Japan. Honestly, it's like we're bringing in our quote unquote best talent, and you're giving us Jungle Boy as the competitor, the top competitor for our champion.
Well, the bizarre thing is, they've also already booked Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay. Which is, okay, so Kenny is one of the top stars on AEW. Will Ospreay is like a mid-carder. This match has been entirely booked because they expect it'll get 5 stars from Meltzer.
Right.
Which is about the
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's already sitting at 5 stars according to Meltzer. It can only go down from here. Or rather, up.
And they've also booked, because it's a dream match, Daniel Bryan versus Okada.
Who?
But it's like, okay. So yes, I can see where either of these would be good matches if Omega stops smoking a little bit of the crack. If Omega's having one of his better nights, but we do need to keep in mind that the belt needs to be valuable here and respected. And in kayfabe, logically speaking, if you get a shot at another company's top belt, you should send your best.
Yeah.
So it's fucking mark booking.
Yeah.
Of like, well, let's just book the best.
Yep, we're booking for the Pro Wrestling Observer newsletter.
And it's like, okay, so what's the storyline reasons why? Daniel Bryan wants to fight Okada. Okay, I guess I can somewhat get that. Why Ospreay versus Omega again? Didn't they just wrestle earlier this year? Yeah, and it was really good, so that's why they're wrestling again. What? If Omega went out there and creamed Ospreay on the fucking pavement, I don't think we need to send him back in there for another ritual slaughter. Ugh. I mean, there needs to be a balance, right? Because there's matchups that everybody's interested in seeing, right?
Yeah.
Because I want to see Gunther versus Lesnar. If Lesnar had gone straight into fighting Gunther for WrestleMania 39, I would have been excited for the match, but booking-wise, I would have been scratching my head like, well, Lesnar's clearly never even looked at the mid-card titles. Why is he looking at them now?
Right.
And I'd love for them to investigate the avenue of doing Lesnar versus Gunther. But the first thing to consider is Lesnar doesn't want to do 30-minute matches. The second thing to consider is, okay, how do we get there?
Yeah.
The third thing we consider is, how does Gunther beat Lesnar?
Yeah.
Because if Lesnar's the one to end Gunther's title reign, I mean, doesn't Lesnar already have enough legacies of killing streaks?
He doesn't need to take a win off of a Gunther.
Like, I know in our group, G-Men would say, like, well, clearly he needs to go to some big star. Like, no, it needs to go someone who's not a star, so it makes them a star.
Yep. Yep.
Like, I'm a huge Gunther mark. Part of why I'm such a huge Gunther mark is because at the end of every hot streak for a heel, there has to be a face who kills him and gets over, right?
Right.
It's the same thing with Roman. Which, by all means, I don't think that there's going to be any babyface in the next, like, year that can take over as a superhero babyface for the whole company. There's just not any Hogans or Rocks or Austins or Cenas in the company now.
Right.
And that's not to say that that there aren't loads of wrestlers who are better than any of those guys. There are. But there's no one with the star power.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, Sami Zayn is a far superior wrestler to Hulk fucking Hogan. That'd be a joke to suggest otherwise. But Sami does not have the mass market appeal.
Yeah.
As a champion. As a champion. As an underdog, he does. Which was a shock to everyone. But as a champion, no, he probably doesn't. And people, of course, don't ever learn this, because they just want to see the underdog get the belt. But, oh, there's Addy.
Yo.
Wait. Oh, Addy, what? You're here?
Yes, from the front lines.
Okay.
On his phone at a very, very low volume.
I cannot help that, I don't think.
Okay,
I'll check.
I've boosted Addy to 200%. I still can't hear him.
And I'm not talking, that's probably why.
Okay, I can only barely hear you.
Oh, does this thing must have a microphone? Am I better now that I'm talking right straight into the phone?
No.
It's not much different. You're still pretty quiet. I can hear you well enough, but you're definitely on the quiet side.
Alright, let me check if mobile Discord allows me to fix that. Just a bit.
I can't believe Addy's devised this podcast appearance as an excuse to escape from the vacation.
Yeah.
But yeah, nonetheless.
Alright, there's a volume slider. I'm gonna put that up and then probably go deaf. Alright, which one of us is deaf now?
Well, you
Possibly
sound the
you.
same.
Alright. Well, unfortunately, the output has been boosted completely, as much as I can, so...
Yeah, you are completely dead quiet.
Cool.
Oof.
I can try putting you on speaker, well, close enough, and then speaking into the phone, I guess. Should I try that?
Try speakerphone, yeah.
Alright, give me that. Okay, now I'm making this like a phone call.
Okay, there we go. You're definitely
You're definitely louder now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so are y'all.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Awesome.
So yeah, I am reporting straight from the frontiers of Croatia.
Oh
Very
boy.
nice.
Well, where were y'all with the podcast?
Well, Texas.
We were actually pretty close to wrapping it up because I was hitting my week, but there wasn't really much I'd done that wasn't on recording. We're talking about a little bit of wrestling. We're mostly joking about AEW's expense.
So the usual.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
standard affair.
Because Forbidden Door's coming up, right?
Yeah.
All right, we got Kazuchika Okada versus Daniel Bryan. Non-title match.
Nice.
Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay for a mid-card belt on New Japan, I believe. So who is going for... Who would AEW pick to go for the IWGP World Heavyweight belt?
Kenny Omega.
Who I already said is in a match against Ospreay.
Full
I
double
wasn't
duty.
I'm not paying attention. Honestly, whenever Kenny Omega's name comes up, I stop paying attention. Oh,
The guy who is going against the IWGP champion at Forbidden Door is Jungle Boy.
Jericho. Oh,
Yeah.
I thought Jericho was gonna reclaim the IWGP Championship title and then go between the Young Lion because he's so young and so lion.
I don't. Has Jericho ever won the IWGP belt?
I have no clue.
No, I don't think he has.
I know Jericho came to New Japan with the stupid Painmaker thing, but I didn't think he actually did anything with it.
Right.
Ah.
I don't think he ever won a belt out in New Japan when he went back there.
So he just went out there to learn how to tame lions.
Yeah.
Oh, good lord. Jericho shouldn't have gone back to Japan. Jericho should have gone back to Mexico.
Yeah. That's a prime location for him, to be honest.
There's like
He's
50
old. He still thinks he can fly. Works out perfectly.
Him, Laparca, and like Atlantis can sit around as the three old fat dudes.
Exactly.
The problem that Chris has with Mexico is that if he wanted to go to Mexico, they would pronounce his name as Chris Jericho, and obviously we can't have that.
Oh man. Ugh. Blech.
Because as we all know, no Spanish speaking country ever heard of the word or the letter J.
Absolutely not.
They think it's one of
not
those letters we made up to fuck with them.
Yeah, I mean it's not nothing like they know that it's a real letter, but the thing is that they refuse to adapt any word with a J in it. They always pronounce it soft.
Gotta have 3 different letters for the sound. Huh.
Yeah. What's the third one?
J. I've heard J, G, H, and X all used to mean huh in Spanish.
G I haven't heard of the other three. I guess like Dex seem to have fallen out of favor after a while, but yeah,
Well, they don't call it Mexico. They call it Mexico.
yeah, Mexicatl.
Yeah.
They're still using the old Aztec name Mexicatl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We gotta throw the Coatl on there for fear that it'll come back for us.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, let's see. Was there anything else of note to particularly talk about going on with WWE? Oh, they are hinting at that they're going to that Damian Priest is going to pull out of Judgment Day and be replaced by JD McDonough.
What?
Which Damian Priest has been criminally underused for about a year now, so I'm in favor of that. Like I think
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. For a second, my brain just went. Oh, so Damian Priest is going to AEW?
oh no! No 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 no.
He's joining the Black Order.
He could go back to New Japan and being Punishment Martinez or whatever his name was.
Yep.
Which was his New Japan work any good? Has anyone seen his New Japan work?
I have not seen his New Japan work. I only saw him work in TNA very briefly back in 2015, I think it was.
I haven't seen the man's WWE work. Let alone New Japan work.
Eh.
I mean, what? I think like he showed at Payback that no matter what, even if they don't want to put a belt on him, he can be a workhorse that can get good matches out of people.
Yeah.
And he's big, and you can't teach that.
Exactly. It's like, why
Which
is
is why
this
we
man
keep
not already a
WWE
world
now.
champion?
I just had an idea.
Yeah.
Damian Priest versus Omos.
Oh, now we're speaking money.
Yeah. Well, if we continue to put Omos against people that can work around Omos and make Omos look good, Damian Priest just demonstrated that he can do it with celebrities. Why not giants?
Absolutely.
and then after that he fights against Shaq, so he can do both at the same time.
Well, Cody's already done that, so Cody can give him pointers.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. All right. I can't recall anything else of note I did this week, actually. You know what? I'll throw this in. I have not been playing Total War Warhammer for about several months now. It's a combination of going nuts with Fire Pro, Street Fighter 6, Gladius, but there was a mod that dropped for a new little kind of sub race, the Grudge Bringers. The Grudge Bringers were the protagonists of two very old, ancient PC days from the. We're talking Egyptian level ancient here. Ramses was playing these Warhammer games in his fucking pyramids, brother. Let me tell you, you thought they were mausoleums? No, they were Ramses' gaming dens. His gamer
Oh, that makes
holes.
all the sense in the world, honestly.
Ramses would whip his slaves and order the invasion of Canaan. And he'd say, "All right, now while you guys go do that, I'm gonna go into my gaming pyramid."
The ancient Egyptians were a bit miffed though when Ramses demanded that neon light tubes, but he put into his gaming triangle.
Yeah, it's like how they used to be white with gold at the top. They used to also have the neon light tubes, but they went away. They went away so quickly that historians don't even know about it.
Yeah, it's a
We only know
tragedy.
about it because it came to us in a mutual dream.
Yeah. What was this before or after Ramses fought in the Yu-Gi-Oh battles?
This would have to be after. Only through the knowledge of Yu-Gi-Oh could he have done this.
Ah,
He played the video games in his pyramid to relive the highs of his Yu-Gi-Oh days.
yeah.
So nonetheless, there's two incredibly ancient Warhammer games from like the early to mid 90s, pushing a little bit, I guess, into the late 90s, called Shadow of the Horned Rat and Dark Omen. They are on PC. I believe they also got PlayStation 1 ports. Nowadays, they are most famous not as games, but for two particular things. One, a bit off their soundtrack was used for the Team Fortress 2 meme video, The Heavy is Dead. I doubt either of you guys have seen that, but nonetheless, the soundtrack was used for that, and also you guys have probably seen the meme image at some point of the dwarf cussing out the elf and saying like, I'm gonna cut you down and piss in your fucking face. I'm gonna fuck your ass. I'm gonna whatever and this and that." So, a game that has by all means been forgotten by history, but nonetheless was tremendously innovative in its time, largely because somehow that game actually did a remarkable job of imitating Total War about 3 or 4 years before the first Total War even came out.
Nice.
Oh,
So, one of the biggest modding teams for Total War Warhammer, the old versus new team, the same gentlemen who are producing the excellent Araby mod, made a Grudgebringer mod as a kind of send up to those old games, and they built it around being very similar to those games, but still porting it to Total War. So the entire gimmick is you only get one army, and that's all you're gonna get. Doesn't matter how much money you got, you can't make any more. But it gets access to some pretty nice units, some pretty big buffs, and it has a special thing going on with the mechanics. You can't occupy cities, but when you take a city, a little menu pops up of all the nearby good guys. So, any of the humans that aren't worshiping chaos, any of the elves that aren't worshiping chaos, any of the dwarfs, so on and so forth, ogres, lizardmen, whatever. You can hand off the settlement to them. In return, they'll give you money, they'll like you better, and they'll also give you one of their high-end units. So
Ah,
you roll around the map as almost a superhero faction, righting wrongs and trying to make it so that the good guys win in every corner of the globe, and over time building a ludicrous, singularly powerful army, packing all of the craziest units from all the races. Which
Nice.
I do have a unit cap mod on that makes it where I can't go too nuts. I can't just have fucking 20 nukes in an army. But nonetheless, it is really cool to play this way, in part because it's just cool to have the idea of running around making sure that the good guys win in every corner of the globe, where ordinarily in Total War, you usually have your own problems to worry about. You can't help the other good guys that much. So you'll be playing, the humans in one corner. It's like, well, I hope the dwarfs aren't getting fucked too hard.
Yeah.
Maybe once I deal with this horde of horrible vampires and beastmen, I can go and help them. Oh, they're dead. Shit. And the other cool thing is, and this is something I know at the very least, Pink, you can sympathize with, is there gets to be a problem when you get to late game and mini strategy games of like, I have too much bullshit to manage.
Yep.
I have 80 cities and I have 200 units all over the board. Like, I'm ludicrously powerful, but every turn is getting longer than the last.
Yep.
Total War's not quite so bad about it, but it is definitely an issue, especially when you start spamming out loads of hero agents all over the map. Grudgebringers, don't have to worry about that. I don't have to build any cities. I got one army. It's a very nice army, so that kind of deals with the fact that I can only get one instead of, 80. And I can just roam the globe on a permanent vacation of killing zombies and goblins. And just anyone who pisses me off, really. The only complaint I would have is, well, for one thing, you get way too many cool toys to play with for the fact that you only have one army, which on one hand does add a lot of replayability, because it's like, okay, well, in this game, I first went to focus on helping the dwarfs. So I got a lot of dwarf toys to play with, so I'm not getting to play with too much of what the other races are giving me. But on, another replay, I could focus on helping somebody else and play with their toys. Okay, fair enough. Nonetheless, well stated.
The scenery, the scenery is nice.
Okay.
This feels wrong to be listening to this. Nonetheless.
We good?
Oh.
Are we good?
I don't know if we're good.
Well, I had to go AFK for a bit because, what?
Oh, okay.
I had to go AFK for a bit because the person that we're basically Airbnb from was like, hey, is the scenery good? I'm like,
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. Okay, right. Yeah, it adds replayability. The one complaint I can really throw at it is, okay, we have to put a lot of buffs on the army to deal with the fact that you only get one army, and by the late game, most of the factions are going to be running around with like a dozen armies. And there's a good chance that you end up being outnumbered by a factor of 4 here. So we need to make your one army really strong. However, it perhaps comes a bit too quickly. And so you definitely really feel like a superhero when you are rolling over, like when you are rolling an army of, let's say, I don't know, maybe 1,000 dudes, and you're just swimming in a sea of 3,000 goblins, and they can't really stop you.
Yeah, then you start playing. The only thing they fear is you, but the Soldier Boy version.
That or start playing Dynasty Warriors music.
Yeah.
But I've got an army of 100 Dynasty Warriors.
Yeah. It's an army of nothing but Lubus.
Oh god. Do not pursue the Grudgebringers.
Yeah.
Alright, that's the extent of my week. Addy, I'm going to assume that you didn't upload anything on your YouTube channel this week.
Well, actually, something's coming out on Friday.
Oh, alright then.
Yeah, because that's how scheduled stuff runs.
How dare you schedule content?
How dare I have a plan?
Exactly.
But yeah, on Friday, you shall bear witness to whatchamacallit, the innovative moves of Rasputin.
Innovative
Who?
moves of who?
Rasputin.
Oh,
Lover to the Russian queen?
No, the other one.
I see. I don't see.
Psychonauts.
Oh, Psychonauts, yes! Or as we in the business like to call it, Psychonauts.
Yeah. So yeah, and then as for my week, let's see. I don't think I played anything else other than Street Fighter 6. So yeah,
Who needs
I
anything
did unlock.
else?
Well, in Street Fighter 6, I did unlock everyone's alternate outfits. So no more Stinky Guile.
Excellent. You gave Luke how many copies of Resident Evil 8?
Oh no, I gave him a copy of Street Fighter 6, and then that increased his relationship meter by 40.
Oh,
40.
amazing.
So yeah. So I did that, and I gave him a bunch of shit throughout the playthrough. So by the time that I went there, I was like, hey, I'm gonna have to give Luke. I actually did the maths. I was like, hey, I'm gonna have to give Luke like, I don't know, like 7 Resident Evil 8s. And then he took like 3 more, and he was like, you know what? Our relationship meter is maxed. I don't need any more Resident Evil 8s. I maxed out Ken's relationship meter without giving him one single cookbook. I just beat him up that many times.
The Street Fighter universe is a strange universe, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, Pink, what was your reaction the first time you uppercutted an old lady, and rather than reporting you to the cops, she put up her dukes?
well, this Street Fighter universe is crazy. Like, they just fight casually. It's like
Yeah.
a high five. It's messed
Yeah, I
up.
mean, but punching a guy is a greeting in Metro City is what they
Yeah.
say on the streets.
At least half of the world population of Street Fighter is a martial artist.
Yes.
the the yeah, you can put the Street Fighter universe's population into one of two categories: martial artist, children.
And even then, we're not so sure.
I mean,
No,
there are some things that
Chun-Li
you can
trains a
fight.
kid that whooped my ass.
Yeah, once you reach teenage, like once you go over age 9, you learn how to do a martial art.
Once you reach age 9, you learn the ability to project fireballs from your hands.
Yeah. This is all the difference that the chi actually existing makes.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
But
Yeah,
yeah, so
oh, I
I did
forgot
that.
to mention that yeah, I recorded the first 4 hours of World Tour and put them up on my channel, but man, I am not recording anymore because that is a lot of dialogue boxes and grinding,
Yes.
and I am not recording that shit.
Wait, I should
So
have been grinding this entire time while we were doing the podcast. What's wrong with me?
yeah, that's what I did like 2 weeks ago.
Understandable.
But yeah, so now what I need to do is I just need to fight enough people using the actual characters move sets to grind all of that out. And I don't know actually what it does. I think it just gives me a whatchamacallit, an achievement, and that's it. But
Well, you get
whatever.
all the moves for Avatar battles if we want to do Avatar battles for a laugh.
The only move I'm missing is Hurricane combination, but I don't actually think that I would be able to use Hurricane combination because it's on Hadouken input and Hadouken.
No,
Yeah. Like it's either on Hadouken or on reverse Hadouken, which is Tatsumaki. So I don't think I can use Hurricane combination after all.
hang on, something just occurred to me. Since you can have
Yeah.
one move on each input motion, how many options are there even? How many options can you even have on Full Circle? Is it not just
One.
SPD and Mexican Typhoon?
It might just be those two. I've only seen SPD so far because it's the first move that game gives you.
Wait, hang on. It just also occurred to me. How do Lily and JP's moves work on the player character if you aren't using their style? Because both of them use weapons.
You spawn a weapon out of thin air.
Oh, okay. To be fair with Psycho Power, that kind of makes sense that you just make a Psycho Staff.
Yeah.
By the way,
Psycho
I
Steve.
noticed while I was playing against Pink the other day, I noticed, like, the craziest little attention to detail.
Yeah.
Did you notice that in JP, during his Drive Impact, he focuses the Psycho Power into his hand, and like Bison would, and that is otherwise, though, the only time that JP puts the Psycho Power into his hand outside of Supers.
Ah, no.
I thought that was a nice little attention to detail. It's like JP's trying to be more careful with the Psycho Power, whereas Bison was going a bit nuts with it.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm trying. I did the maxing out of the relationships, not just because of the classic outfits and stuff like that, but because also they give you lore. And I was like, I need to find out what's up with JP. And technically, I found out shit about JP. It's just still not much. It's just the JP's story. And this is the spoiler-free version. JP's story in this game is I set up Nashal. I am evil. I'm laundering money. And if you do JP's relationship stuff, he lets you know that he set up Nashal, he's laundering money, and he's evil. So
A man of simple tastes.
yeah, like I wanted to figure out what his relation is to Bison, and technically they tell you his relation to Bison, but it's so vague that like it doesn't tell you the actual stuff you want to find out about their relationship. It's just, hey, I knew Bison, technically.
Yeah, I mean, that's one curious thing is like more of the story's gonna be filled out by DLC.
Yeah.
Street Fighter V was ridiculous for it because when Street Fighter V launched, it was like Necalli is clearly the villain here, and no, he ain't, no, he fucking ain't.
I mean, the best part of Necalli is that Necalli is such a great character that he was a rejected Akuma design.
Yeah.
And that's all you need to know about Necalli, really.
Oh God.
So yeah. So that I managed to get to silver. The matchmaking actually played into my favor, and I actually got people that I can beat. By which I of course mean I fought Marisa 12 times, and eventually the game declared you reached silver.
Nice.
Like this isn't even a joke. That day when I got to silver, there were two other people online in ranked mode in Europe, and both of them were playing Marisa. One was classic, the other one was modern, and that's it. So I fought those two Marissas like 10 times. Uh, but yeah. So Pink, how have you been enjoying Street Fighter 6?
I'm really enjoying it. I think it's a blasty
Right.
blast, except for the World Tour mode, which is kind of a grind. But aside from that, it's been a very fun game.
Yeah, you should if somebody says you have a series, so you should be able to go into graphics and make it so World Tour doesn't run like shit, which is a luxury that I don't have.
Oh, I didn't know it ran terribly. I just
It runs at 30 frames, which is bad when you go into playing like normal matches and it runs at 60.
oh oh.
Yeah. So you can go into
Well,
you
I
can
would
both of
assume
you
I didn't
can,
notice it because I barely pay attention when I'm playing World Tour.
yeah.
I just beat
But
people up and steal their money and buy jellied eels for Cammy.
you only
Man's
need
gotta have
20.
priorities.
For World Tour is about buying jellied beans for Cammy. That's it.
Exactly. It's like, does
Eel
this World Tour
turd.
have a plot? If it does, I don't know it.
Pink has to buy enough jelly eels for Freud to figure out which one of them is male and which one of them is female. Uh, and then just cut in the salmonella clip.
hmm
So yeah, yeah. I didn't fight against Pink because he literally just set the game up, and I figured, hey, Pink we might want to just try out modern control first.
Yep.
Which like like I complained about modern controls on the last podcast, turns out I was wrong. It was a rank problem because in lower rank, uh, anyone really, but modern controls people seem to be more like accustomed to it just because they have less options. But there are a lot of people that just spam drive impact, and I have a problem with drive impact, which is that I can't counter it personally. But like it's not even an actual objective problem. It's just I don't know how to counter it yet. Well, I don't know how to counter it, but I just can't do it off of reaction yet. So that's it. But yeah,
Yep. Like,
but since
I think
then,
I'm just going to have to, personally, I'm just going to have to, like, sit down for a day of ranked where I do nothing but focus on get ready for drive impact, get ready for drive impact, get ready
yeah,
for drive impact.
yeah. I mean,
That,
I've gotten to the point. I've gotten to the point where if the other person spams it on every second move, then what in 10 times I actually counter it with my own drive impact. So that's something, I
yeah.
guess. But yeah, what was I gonna say? Like I'm still of the opinion that they should tweak drive impact and drive rush and stuff like that, but that can be done in later balance patches. Like none of these are like I don't think that large sweeping balance changes need to be done. I just feel like drive impact might want to cost more, and I want air parry. Those are my complaints. Like I want air parry that costs like 2 bars because I think normal parry is a bar. So air parry costs 2 bars. It's a lot more risky, but you can also just do it. It exists. I wouldn't mind it.
Normal parry costs nothing if it succeeds.
Well, yeah, but I'm just talking about in general. Like if you pay two bars and it already is a higher already is a higher risk maneuver than just normal parry. Then I feel like that would be like good enough to do clutches, but not spammable.
Yeah.
which is which is my ideal. Like I want to drive rush and drive impact and drive parry and all that stuff to be good when applied well, but I don't want them to feel like they dominate the game, which is my problem with them. Not like right now, like with them and grabs. Like I just don't want these mechanics to feel like they dominate the game completely.
I mean, drive impact, like, if you spam them too much, you do go without the drive gauge, right?
Well, yeah, but as long as you have like have an idea of how to turtle, then that isn't really a nerf.
Well, if you're turtling, then you eat a drive impact.
I don't know because like the people who spam drive impact in my experience are actually good at countering it because if you know the devil, then it's easier to fight against him or something. I don't know.
I suppose. I mean, like I guess like drive impact is really like it's famously the button to catch people when they're sleeping. I sleep a lot more than most people, apparently.
Yeah, like I think a part of my problem with drive impact personally is just that it redefines Okizeme, and Okizeme works like 90% the same in most games. It redefines it almost completely into just not existing, at least in the traditional way.
I'm very much fine with it, but like, would you say like it's you feel like you want like this to be more kind of classic Street Fighter fundamentals?
I mean, I don't know if I'd say classic Street Fighter fundamentals because it is more or less just classic Street Fighter fundamentals. But it does kind of feel like driving back in its current iteration is the skip fundamentals button of like I don't want to deal with meaties, I don't want to deal with wake up grabs. Not wake up, I don't know. I guess it depends on timing if it can go out of wake up grab because like it really depends on whether or not you actually input the wake up grab at a good time for the servers or whatever they're all back. Because like wake up grab should beat giant impact most of the time, but then also the rollback is you can set the rollback, which is a networking problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, it just feels like a very very easy way to get out of a lot of pressure. And well, on 5 meters doesn't get off B button when you time it right and shit. Like I have had fights with more modern players even. Like that's what I was trying to go towards that since the last podcast. I actually have fought modern players who knew how to do footsies, who knew how to do the fundamentals, and they fucking beat me very hard. But they were better at footsies and fundamentals, and I actually could go, hey, they beat me because of this thing. And it wasn't just driving back, and a lot of times it was driving back too. But it wasn't just driving back. They actually outplayed me. I could attribute them real things outside from I am not used to this mechanic, and thus they beat me because I am not used to this mechanic.
Now I have a stupid question.
Yeah.
What is a drive impact?
The big hit where you go all comic book and you
Oh
get all
yeah,
hit
yeah.
all. Yeah, that's it.
Those are good to use?
That
Very.
depends. It depends. But yeah, it is more better to use than it probably will be in the future right now. Like if you want to spam them now because they might get nerfed.
Aha.
If you don't want to be brain dead, then you can learn how to utilize them well on like reading the other guy and stuff like that. That works very well, and
Right.
it also doesn't feel cheap when you do it that way because then you actually made the read. Like
I'm not
both
too
W and
certain
other
they
people.
will get nerfed. I think that the way they are now is kind of intended.
I'm kind of hoping not, just because once again they feel a bit too uh they feel a bit too punctual. I guess is a good way to put it.
I mean, for my
Of
part,
like
like, they haven't changed it since the beta. You know?
that's true. I don't know. I guess we'll see because I do see a lot of people complaining. I do see a lot of people being like, "Well, it's the most reactable movie in the universe," which no, like it would need another it would need the Guilty Gear Strive or counter slowdown before it would be reactable for me. But but yeah, like I guess yeah, the thing that I dislike about Driving Impact overall is just how it feels like it already defines the whole footsies and the wake up stuff because on wake up you can do 90% of your buttons. In footsies you can do 90% of your buttons. Your buttons are light jab or light kick. Why? Because they have the least amount of whatchamacallit, or follow through because then you can actually block or counter DI if they DI your jab. Like it's like okay, so I have all of my buttons of the six buttons that I have, six plus buttons because of common normals. I can use two, maybe
I feel like
three,
Light Punch is stronger than it's ever been in this game. Like, just
and like
just for its capability to
yeah,
do trying stuff, not only of course, classically, the buttons that the opponent's throwing out, but its ability to, like, how many times you can see drive impacts get stuff by just mashing Light Punch, or sometimes even throw loops getting interrupted by Wake Up Light Punch.
yeah. But yeah, like this thing of like like of light punch and lightning being like the strongest buttons of a character makes it so they're the moves you will see 90% of the time, and I wish to see other moves. I know we have move sets. Where are they? You know.
Well, the thing is that if your opponent's going nuts with the light punches, you just then poke them with the medium punch or the heavy punch or a sweep.
I know that's fine. I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying that like the strength of driving packs makes it so people are pretty much forced to stab light punches and shit, and it kind of negates most of the moveset outside of combos. And I like combos, but I also don't like footsies.
Well, I mean,
Like
there's other
you know,
alternatives to answering drive impact, but no matter what, there's always going to be strong moves.
I
None of
guess,
us are
but
big.
yeah.
I'll be
Go ahead.
honest here. Like, none of us here are really big light punch users. Or, well, no, you're probably a bit more of a light punch user than me or Pink because you're a lot more aggressive and stuff. But, like, I've never been a big light punch user, but I've always known that that was a weakness of mine, that I should do that more often to stuff shit that happens that I should not be happening.
My thing, my thing with Light Punch is that like Light Punch is lame. That's what it boils down to. Like Light Punch is good for applying pressure safe, very fast. It,
Well, you
competitively,
know, if you're not a big fan of Light Punch, there's one game I can think of off the top of my head where Light Punch isn't very good. Mortal Kombat.
yeah. Oh, you mean Front Punch?
Yeah, there we go. No, I mean Light Punch.
Yeah.
You can't tell me the button that brings out that incredibly slow uppercut is not Heavy Punch. Sorry.
No, that's Back Punch. No matter
Nonetheless,
what you
this
say.
isn't an episode FGA. We are going along about the fighting game here, and I can hear Pink going, I don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
What's a punch?
Pink, you need to go. You need to go into the tutorial so you can learn what footsies are.
That is a joke. The Street Fighter
Yeah,
6
that's a joke.
tutorial notoriously uses the word footsies to describe the wrong thing.
Ah.
I should probably actually go in there and see if they changed it. Probably not, but it would be funny if it's not still.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I think that genuinely though, like if you play Word Tour, if you do the side missions and the mini games, then that should teach you motion input and stuff like that without having to pay too much mind to them. Like
See?
Why do you think
there's
he
a
wants to
mini game.
learn them? I don't think he wants to learn them.
I mean, it will just happen either way if he plays the mini games and shit. Which he probably will if he wants money to buy Cabby jelly deals.
I've just been mugging people off the street for that.
Uh, but you see, Pink, there's a mini game where you can spend, I want to say, like a minute at most, and you gain like 30,000 zenny for it.
Oh, this changes everything.
Yeah, the mini games pay good in the higher levels. So you might want to look into them for that, if nothing else.
Possibly.
But yeah, like there's the pizza one that changes your normal motion inputs. There's the karate one that changes you teaches you what you call it, charge moves.
No.
Well, here's the thing: you don't have to do the karate one unless you do the side mission that introduces the things where the game is for some reason like, hey, do charge moves. All right, now do the next mission in the thing. Do charge moves again. But yeah, anyway. Yeah, so that's Street Fighter 6. We're gonna continue talking about it for a while, probably.
Yes.
Then I finished reading. I finished reading. Yeah, I finished reading Animal Farm.
Ruh-roh, Raggy.
Yeah. So Animal
What is-
Farm is a book. Yeah.
I was gonna ask what Animal Farm was, but then you got on with it, so
It's
I don't need to.
it's a George Orwell book. It's by the same guy who did
1984?
yeah.
Right.
Which I'm
He
still gonna have
informed
to
us about the lack of boobies in modern movies.
So yeah, Animal Farm can be summarized as communism in it. Like
Eh.
legitimately me reading through that, like I don't know when in communism he wrote this, like where how much it has progressed by the point that he started writing this or whatever, I finished writing it. But genuinely me reading that book was just the Malcolm in the Middle meme of like, hey, I've seen this one. What do you mean? It just came out.
That's not Malcolm in the Middle. That's Back to the Future.
Ah, okay then. I felt like I remembered Malcolm's dead, but I guess I'm wrong. That's how I can identify. Like if I see one of the kids or Malcolm's dead, then it's Malcolm in the Middle. Even Breaking Bad.
Fair enough.
But yeah. Uh, Animal Farm is a book. The- Animal Farm. Animal Farm. Fucking hell.
Animal Farm is a book. Oh shit!
Animal Farm is a complicated book because I think it should be read by people who are into communism today. At the same time, I don't think the people in the communism would actually give it the train of thought that it's supposed to inspire.
No, well, I
Like,
mean, Orwell was himself a believer in some degree of like socialism. Like, there's lots of debates about Orwell because Orwell's a guy who has been very happily adopted by both wings of politics, right?
yeah,
Because the right wing argument is Orwell indicates that socialism, communism can never work. The left wing argument is he's not going against socialism, he's going against authoritarianism. But Animal Farm, I have not read it. However, I definitely know passages of it. And I definitely know the Cliff Notes. And from my understanding, it is about the cycle of revolution. How the revolutionary becomes the tyrant.
yeah, pretty much that. It's I would technically it can be summarized as death, but it's one of those things where, like, why are the James blue? For me, the book was about the pitfalls of actually applied communism.
I can
Because
definitely believe that. I mean, people are
because
going to. It's one thing to
yeah,
note also, again, I've not read the book and I've only seen passages. People inevitably are only going to cite the passages where they want to point out that part. And if somebody is very much in favor of socialism as an economic model and also believes that the reason socialism has not worked in the past is because the revolutionaries become the tyrant, then he's going to leave out the parts of Animal Farm that talk about why socialism cannot work as an economic model, but will specifically highlight the parts where it talks about the revolutionary becoming the tyrant.
I mean, the thing is that well, once again, applied like that to me is a very important part because communism on paper sounds nice, sure, I
It will always
guess.
sound
The part
nice.
of it, yeah, the part of it that has been cited to me as on paper what communism should be, sure. At the same time, the whole thing of absolute of giving absolute power, the absolute Piper, Roddy Piper, give it to a
Oh,
guy.
there's several communist leaders I'd like to see locked in a room with Roddy Piper.
We can't prove that they're not right now, depending on where
We
Roddy
we
went.
we can't prove that Stalin didn't clear out the Politburo using Roddy Piper.
Yeah,
Fucking walking into Frida Kahlo's back door, Roddy Piper to kill Trotsky.
yeah. But yeah,
Is that not the strangest historical, like, one of the strangest historical relationships ever? Frida Kahlo and Trotsky were banging. What?
so yeah, the thing with applied communism is that absolute power. There was one guy who allegedly didn't do that shit in Hungary, which I only know because of my grandma. And I mean, do I have proof that she wasn't just propaganded very hard? you know,
I mean, like, the Romans had Cincinnatus, but they also had loads of dudes who weren't Cincinnatus.
Yeah, that's my point. Like there was one guy during communism who allegedly was actually legitimately a good leader, and then was like in the book Snowball, where Snowball the pig actually tries to use the good parts of communism, or the parts that sound nice on paper. They tries to apply that, and then he ends up written out of the book. Is a way to put it, which
I
is also very good. Yeah,
I can guess.
yeah, and so that's
It's time to
pretty
make
much what.
bacon.
No, it wasn't that bad. They tried, but he was too fast, which actually worked for them in the long run, which is also what historically happened.
Okay, so he made like Trotsky instead. Off to Mexico to bang hot artist chicks. Later, bitches.
Yeah,
We'll make the bacon later.
yeah, and like one thing, like a lot of the stuff that is in Animal Farm parallels at least some bit of communism. Like by which I mean, like the parts like that are either are very similar to like Russian communism is the best way I can put it, because to me it's always just been what came out of the Soviet Union, what stuff that reached us but was foreign about communism. There was parts of it that were similar to how Hungary suffered through communism, and then there's parts that are more like China. Like by the end, by the
Ooh.
end, the revolution the revolutionary turns into a tyrant is like what's happened in China, where it's like, all right, so we're gonna adapt capitalism, but only the bad parts. So you have both the bad parts of communism and capitalism.
Oh, Deng Xiaoping. Okay, I thought you were gonna go to down the
Yeah,
Mao Zedong route. Okay.
no, 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 no. It's just what if we take both of the leading economic things and only take the bad parts? What if we just did that?
Excuse you. We are still very much communism, but there are economic exclusionary zones where we practice Chinese traditionalism.
Yes.
Communism's still strong.
Yeah. I mean, the way I got told about how what actually is going on is that if you live in the city, China is capitalist. If you live anywhere else, it's communist. Which
Yeah. Yeah.
so it's
And
not like
there is a
there's
tremendous rift between the livelihood of Chinese people living in the city and Chinese living in the country,
yeah
particularly depending on how good of a job the government does at keeping an eye on that given part of the country. Because China is a big
yeah
place with a lot of people, and it is more than a little bit of a bureaucratic nightmare to try and manage any of that shit.
yeah
Especially when the government is so devoted to mostly trying to kill off the population of the northwest part of the country for being the wrong religion.
I thought you were going to say being the wrong color,
That too.
which
That too.
yeah
Little bit of a long running history in China. A billion and a half people, almost all of them are ethnically Han Chinese. There is nowhere else in the world where you're going to find that many people of the same ethnicity.
yeah
And China has not always been such a ludicrously large place occupied by one ethnicity.
yeah.
Oh boy.
But yeah, Animal Farm. The book was, I'd say, very good, just because I feel like the book did a good job in conveying what's the word that I'm thinking of getting the emotions that it wanted, which is to say that I hated leaders, which yeah, like because capitalism is a carrot on a stick, where you try to find the or where you try to go and grab the carrot, but it's always just out of reach. Communism is the
The
guy
stick.
going, no, no, comrade, there's a carrot somewhere. You just need to go, and there will be a carrot.
There is a stick for all of us. I mean, there is a carrot for
Yeah,
all of us. But if you do not work towards that carrot for all of us, you get the stick.
yeah, and there's also some like there's the book is just very good. Let me
Yeah.
summarize it. Because there's a tenets that they do where they're like, all right, so these are the things that we must never break, except for the part when I'm in charge. By the time I'm in charge, I'm just gonna add the passages to these so that everything works out for me, which is
Hey, we're
also very
doing.
very very much what happened
Hey,
in the
we're
Soviet
we're
Union.
catching up to that in the states now.
Ah, nice. All right, so when is Gorbachev getting shot again? When are they honoring him and then shooting him in front of the White House?
Ah,
I don't actually remember if it was Gorbachev or whoever. There was a Romanian leader that was very very much into communism, by which you know what I'm
yeah, I was
saying. He
about to
was
say
very
Gorbachev never got shot. Reagan did, but Gorbachev didn't.
there was a Romanian leader whose name escapes me, but he was very much into the part of communism where he gains and everyone else loses. And people got fed with that after a while. And once communism was overthrown, they just lined him up next to his house and shot him. The people did.
Christ.
Him and his wife. Yeah.
Well, I guess that's always the issue with communism is some central authority, it's like, well, we must redistribute the wealth. Excellent. I will be redistributing the wealth directly into my pockets.
Yes. Like the Animal Farm book that shows this very very well. Well, it's like they show like it's one of those things where if you care about this stuff, which of course I have because it's part of my history technically. Like if you read about them, or if you're just any bit of interested in how communism worked out when it was applied, like if you looked it up, then a lot of the stuff that's in the book is just one to one what happened in real life. Only this time technically it's animals doing it, but like it's a thing of like okay, so instead of sorry photoshopping those people out. Yeah, no, we just found records of the guy who we ran out of the farm. Yeah, we found documents that he was actually evil and the man in disguise because we hate people. And like that seems like a dumb change, except for the part where that actually was genuinely more used. Like
Yeah.
like the people who got photoshopped out of Stalin's pictures, very important people who needed to be photoshopped out. Most people didn't get that. Most people were just like, all right, burn the fucking pictures, and then we'll just forge documents that said that they were actually capitalist scum.
Yeah. And Trotsky
Or or
caught on
or
about shit was happening before anyone else, which is why he skipped town.
yeah,
Because Stalin was making sure to eliminate anyone else who was in the kind of like council or cabinet of Lenin to make sure he had no competitors. Because pretty well anyone who was alive to know Lenin would have known that Lenin was a screwed up human being who fucked up a lot of things. But Lenin still would not have been down for a lot of the things that Stalin did.
yeah. And like once again, like the stuff that I read in Animal Farm, which it's not a long book. It's 9 chapters. It's 137 pages or so, counting literally every page of the book, including the front cover. So like, it's really not a long book. I would recommend reading it to anyone who is interested in just seeing how communism works when applied. Because is it a book? Sure. Is it made up? Technically, yes. But also actually no.
Yeah.
It's it's just what happened. It is just what happened. And if any country tried switching over to communism now, I don't see it happening any other way. Which like that's also a good thing to point out. The book is cyclical, which goes back to the cycle of the revolutionary turning into the tyrant. But also it really like there's a character that shows up who never dies. The character has implied to have lived through this before and will live through this again. The character is stuck in purgatory and he knows.
That man's
It's
name is the peasantry.
yeah. Well, no, he's like the character is supposed to be like the old guy who technically has been through the cycle before, I guess, character wise.
Yeah.
Because like the peasantry is even shown to forget. The peasantry is misled because they're like, oh no, you misremembered this thing, which is also a tactic that they use IRL too. Oh no, you misremembered this thing. This thing didn't happen that way. No, it happened this other way. And since enough time has passed for the people to forget at large, they go, okay, I guess that's how it happened then. Because obviously the government has the records, so they can be wrong.
Yeah.
Like the
Lord.
book goes out of its way to show a lot of the classes of people that you would see in a government like this too. You have the bootlickers. Well, you have one singular bootlicker really. You have the people of the unruling class who have a conscience, and of course they die. Yeah,
Yeah, naturally. And their kids. Don't forget about their kids.
yeah. Oh, the kids
Take them to
they
the
become
basement.
they become yeah yeah the kids become Hitler youth.
Oh, good lord.
Yeah. But no, only the upper class kids. The lower class kids are too lower class. Their blood is not does not contain enough gold. But which is technically, I think that's actually how it worked in Germany too. So maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, there are the people who question stuff but don't know enough to be able to oppose the stuff that's going on around them well enough. There's the people who just have blind devotion to the ruling class because they are the ruling class. There's the people, the sheeple, the actual literal sheeple, which might be where it originates from. I have no clue. It's originating from this book. Makes
Sweet
more sense
Jesus,
to
are
me
you
that it
being
originates.
attacked by a rat?
No, that's birds.
Okay, that sounded like you were being attacked by a rat or something. Like, what's going on over there?
Oh, I'm outside.
Okay, for a sec, like I was almost like kind of imagining you over there very calmly podcasting while you're also doing like that fucking men's life whatever cover where it's the dude fighting crabs, but instead it's rats.
Yeah, I'm doing perfect parries. They're trying to grab my nuts. So yeah, I'm getting the slowdown, which is why sometimes I take a while to think about what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
uh, yeah, to me it would make more sense for the whole sheeple thing to originate from this book than it does the Bible because the Bible never is like blind devotion, but in this book, definitely.
Oh,
And I also the one big argument that people make against the well not argument the like easiest way to make fun of communism seems to have come from this book, or at least it's the earliest recorded way of making fun of communism that I have found. Of some animals are more equal than others.
yeah. All animals
Yeah,
are
that
equal,
seems
but
to
some
come.
are more equal than others. There you go.
But yeah, that as far as I'm aware comes from this book because it's the earliest recorded version of it that I found.
All right.
So yeah, Animal Farm, a good read, an easy read, a fast read. So if you have like I don't know, like 3 days to read a book, sure, why not?
Yeah.
Get it while it's still on what should we call it on our calendar.
Is it in the public domain?
The version I read, I believe so because it's like the first print.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, like this, this whole thing depends on which print you read. If you want a new like fixed up one, I guess technically fixed up, then get a newer one. I'm fine with reading already read all the books because there's some context to gain from like historical context to gain from that too. And like this version that I read still talks about Orwell as if he was dead, so or he was dead, he was as if he was alive, as
Yeah.
if Orwell hasn't risen again, you know.
He is risen. In the time we needed him most, he returns.
Orwell comes back to make a third book about why communism is bad.
Y'all motherfuckers didn't get it. He's back.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to read 1984 because I like this book and the part of 1984 that I read. I mean, sure, the whole sex thing I won't have like I will disagree with, but like I can still get something's message while disagree with its means of showing the stuff, you know?
Well, I think you can
Right.
still get the idea that the idea is the government wants to take away all the fun parts of life.
Yeah, and also
But
just
yeah,
like it feels like a very since it's so called upon in the zeitgeist, I feel like I need to read it just so I understand stuff better than the layman because. you know, if I'm gonna call upon 1984 to refer to I don't know. I don't actually know what I could say because I've had admin here, so if anything, I'm Big Brother.
eh,
And, like I don't really use or I no it's when I see other people in authoritative positions rule, as long as it's not actually real power, I can at least sympathize with them usually. But if the name is not Ziokage. If it's Ziokage, then yeah. but the places that I usually hang out and I can understand why the mods do stuff the way they do. It's when it gets to either people who use their power like Ryokage, or when it comes to like people with actual power positions with power. Now, once you're in the government, I don't understand why you're making the choices you do. But obviously, you're making the choices you do is to get more money,
Yes.
which is which is a different like when mods make choices that they do in moderating a community, I can sympathize with them because they're making those choices to try and moderate the community is in one way or another. Whereas people like whereas choices made for money can be illogical because they're not talking about, or when they're not thinking about logic, they're thinking about money.
I mean, like,
So, yeah,
it's such a strange thing to think about how they can think of themselves as good people in spite of it, you know?
yeah,
Like, I,
yeah.
I
My
guess it's one
family.
of those things of like, one of the classics is that you, for instance, let's see, like a big one is my younger brother owns a company here, so I'm going to make sure that he gets all the contracts.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. They're doing that a lot. Like, okay,
They're
you
doing
wanna
that
hear
here in
a
the
funny one?
states too. A big that mercenary company that Grand Theft Auto makes fun of.
Yeah.
A big part of why we hire them to do so much here in the United States is because Hillary Clinton's brother is either the owner of it or has a big stake in it.
Ah, I see. Yeah, even in Hungary, it's like okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. There's this new law that they made in the city, because technically we don't have the whole like state governance system that y'all do, but we still kind of do, where the cities can be like, hey, this is a law that we enforce here, so I guess it's allowed now.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So the city has made it illegal to dispose of your electronics and stuff. The stuff that you might put or whatever, like the stuff that you would send to a junkyard. You cannot dispose of it unless you sign your rights over to the company of one of the guys who is in government.
Oh,
Because like it's not even a thing. Like but technically you can dispose of it, but only in places where it's not ecologic. Like you can dump your shit whenever you want, wherever you want. Who gives a fuck about the environment? But if you want to put it on the junkyard and get paid for it, that's illegal. You have to sign your rights over to the guy who's in government, and then he gets the money for selling it to the junkyard. So yeah,
oh
like
boy.
they're not even trying to hide it anymore. I need to escape, but it's starting to get to the point where like might just need to take out a loan to escape, and then hope to not die
Take out
before
what?
the loan alone.
Ah.
Like it's a thing of like, okay, I get to gamble my life away with the loan stuff, or die slowly and painfully wither away over in Hungary. So like,
I would suggest putting a lot of thought into your decisions and maybe not that. Family is a very valuable thing, even if it seems like your family is being a pain in the ass. There are lots of parts of the world, like, family is a very beneficial thing. And it seems like you can't get them to move. I get that.
oh no, that's the thing. Like my parents want to move. If I'm going, my parents come with me. My sister, my younger sister, my young, technically younger sister, whatever. She's older than me, but she's the younger of my two sisters. She doesn't want to move. That's her prerogative. My oldest sister, she wants to move to Spain. So we're gonna be caught up anyway.
Spain is, to my understanding, gorgeous.
Spain is beautiful. I don't know what the political landscape is over there, though.
Well,
I've
they're
Oh,
heard
not
some.
I
fascist
don't.
I've heard
anymore,
good
so that's an
things.
improvement.
That's
Yeah.
true.
The
But
problem with Spain is you have to deal with Brits on vacation.
That's very true.
Every summer there's like a mass fucking. It's like the birds flying down to Florida every winter.
Yeah.
I mean, the plan right now for the family overall is my sister stays in Hungary because she wants to be in Hungary. Whatever. If she changes her mind and it should actually works out for one of us, then we help her. Probably. I mean, that would be the logical thing to do.
Yeah, you can stay in contact.
Yeah. My older sister goes to Spain whenever she can, which is what she has expressed so far. And then I will probably take my parents to America, which because that's what they have said. Well, that's what my mom said that she wants, and my dad is like, I don't care. I'll go wherever.
Anywhere you can get a job, really.
Yeah,
Which would probably be the smart thing to look up is what are the best job markets in the U.S.
yeah. Now that you say that, I might want to look into that. Yeah, because yeah, the like if I take the loan out or whatever, which even if I do, that won't be a thing that I do immediately right now. I can wait under like 3 years, 4 years, probably, just to make sure that I can make stuff work without taking out a loan. Like I want to try, actually getting a job first, because
Yeah.
that to me makes logical sense. And then if getting a job doesn't give me enough of a push to be able to do it eventually, then I will actually seriously consider getting a loan because if I can get a job in America, then I can pay back the loan. That's it.
Well, you're probably going to want to look into first while you're in Hungary getting the stuff together to make it where the U.S. government. For it to be the land of the free, we're really prickly about immigrants these days.
Ah,
So
yeah.
like, there's the whole thing of like, well, you got to prove that you'd help provide for the country. You got to have good work experience or something like that. Which again, like I think I've said this before, I'm not really an expert on this stuff, but like having work experience coming from Hungary, I think would be one thing that would benefit your odds.
Yeah. And like I am as I've said, I am looking into retail stuff. I applied for a job in theater. That was an actual what you call it, actor, mind you. I'm not like idiot. I'm not stupid. Not that stupid anyway.
It's the crew
No,
that
I
makes the
I
shit
applied.
work.
Yeah, I
It's the
applied for crew,
it's the crew that has to yell at the actors for monkeying around on the fucking scaffolding.
yeah, which the theater hasn't replied yet, so who knows? I don't think they'll reply at this point, but whatever.
That's
I'm
one
looking
place
into
they
it.
could probably use an editor.
I don't see how they could use an editor
Well, they
because the theater doesn't record their stuff.
really most theaters do nowadays.
Oh, I'm not talking about. Sorry, I'm not talking about movie theater. I'm talking about like old-timey theater, like
No, no, I
actual
know.
screen actors.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, I actually did a gig there once. Where I had to record stuff for not for the theater, at the theater, because the guy who runs the water polo team was getting commendation by the city, and they had this big ceremony, and he got me on for free to see if I can do the stuff, if I can record and edit, and then if I do that he'd give me the job. Yeah, I did the stuff, and because I need a chaperone, I could actually take the job, which I got. They even announced it on the site. So like this is the thing that's holding me up is that like I have so many fucking like normal physical health problems and also just mental health problems that finding a job proper is hard because like once again the whole chaperone stuff and all that sucks in general. But also because of my epilepsy, I can do like very like physically demanding jobs which removes a lot of menial labor.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm kind of shot. It's it's why I get so worked up about whenever we talk about economics because to you it's just whatever. To me, I don't have an option here. And I have to think about this shit because like capitalism not working for me means that I just die probably faster than I would usually.
Yeah.
So yeah, like living in not even like relative luxury, just middle class shit. Like living on the way on the level that you do would be is pretty much my end goal. I don't need a lot of money. I could use a lot of money, but I don't need a lot of money.
I mean, I have, by now, I have no bones about where I am. I am, by all means, I guess, like, rich, right?
I don't know. I'd say you're upper middle class. Like until you like send me a picture of your house and it's a fucking it's one of those mech villas. Like
Yeah, there's not so many of those, especially
like
nowadays.
basically until like you just start. Yeah.
There's one mansion I can recall seeing regularly, but it was owned by a guy who was like the kingpin of a porta potty dynasty, and it,
Nice.
which like
This, this castle was built on shit. Which I
yeah,
don't know if that's yeah, I don't know if that's a saying over there. One of the things in Hungarian we have is if you can do something about thing that's going on, you just say I can build a shit out of a castle or I can build a castle out of shit. And that
well,
guy did build a castle out of shit.
over here in America, we'll do it out of anything, pal.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Uh,
Yeah,
but
I
yeah,
mean, like,
so yeah.
Ted himself, who we know is one of the most ardently capitalist guys ever, has conceded, like, okay, yeah, some kind of staggered welfare system is probably a necessity.
Yeah. I mean, the thing with welfare though is that like people who live on welfare have whatchamacallit, fuck it out. And there's this thing against using welfare, where people look down on people who use welfare, and like the like he suggested that there needs to be a thing where like the lower class just ceases being and actually just starts living on welfare, and the upper middle class and the upper class pay for them. But do you think that would help race relations? Yeah, do you think that would help race relations? No, do you think that would help class
No, it probably
relations?
wouldn't help race relations, actually. I know you said
Well,
that as a
no, probably
slip
not.
up, but at least here in the States, that would not help.
I mean, I don't think it would help anywhere. I'm pretty sure most of the lower class people in Hungary are gypsies, so
Yeah.
like it's. I have seen my share of white people. The people who live in the ghetto that I live in are mostly white by now, but that's actually a funny story about that. But yeah, the lot of poor people are gypsies. Like there used to be, they got rid of them by now, but there used to be entire little communes for just gypsy people, and they were just called the numbered streets because they wouldn't have a proper postage uh thing. That they wouldn't have an actual like real name on the map. It would just be like number 400. This house is number 400,
Yeah, yeah.
which over here it's usually just it's usually a full thing of like, all right, this number on this street under I don't know this county, and those would just be like number 400. Well, that's the thing. Like you couldn't actually order shit online to there because it was a ghetto. The,
Yeah.
the, the thing is technically I live in a ghetto, but at least it's a state sanctioned ghetto, so I still get to order shit online. It's not that bad.
See, that's one of those things that we very much do not have in the States, where a ghetto will just pop up and the government doesn't know what the fuck happened.
Yeah.
That,
Yeah,
that is
that's a thing over
that's a
here because
very bizarre. No, oh,
yeah. What?
there's a fly.
The squirrels are
Uh,
attacking W now.
the rats.
Yeah.
It's my cheese, mine.
Uh, yeah, like, over here that's also thing with culture like gypsies or like there's some cultural heritage stuff that remains even in me with gypsy stuff. Like it's one of those things where like it's funny funny and dumb to say that stuff runs in your veins, but when some of the things that I like are travel, and I want to build a house. Just to be like, that's very stereotypical gypsy.
I
Of,
don't know.
like,
I think that's pretty common with a lot of people. My parents want to travel and build a house.
uh,
My
I don't
dad's
know, because
mostly English. My mom's like some split between German, Scots, and Irish. I don't think there's any Romani in me at all.
I mean, generally no, but like I guess build a house isn't build a house is that depends on what we define as a house, because like
That just made me think like if it's an exclusively Romani thing to build houses. So everybody
no no
else is
that,
just sitting in a fucking clearing, like, boy, I wish I had something to protect me against the fucking rain.
that no
Or
that
like a
depends, 'cause,
fucking
like
caravan of gypsies roll up and build a house. And like some Englishmen are like, well, fuck me.
I
This
mean,
is
but
great.
by now it might be like that. But no, that depends. Do you define or do you define house as just the actual building that we have now, or do you define house as something that can be mobile? Because you know it's one of those things where like if a lot of the luxuries that I enjoy and need in my daily life weren't so tied to actual like location, I wouldn't mind living out of a fucking car. I would just call my house or my car a house, which I don't
Yeah.
have by the way. Yeah. Which that part is very gypsy. Of like I don't need an actual like thing because I want to be traveling. I don't need to have a proper postage address. I can just go somewhere anywhere.
Like, it's
Yeah,
one of those strange cultural differences of America to Europe. In America, the idea of living on the road in a traveling house, whether it's an RV or living out of your car or something like that, is seen as a very romantic ideal. And it's like, oh, you get to see the world, it's so amazing. In Europe, you live that way, and they're just like casting fucking racial slurs at you, and politicians are going up and giving speeches about how you're ruining the country.
yeah. But so the numbered streets were the result of this, I believe. Where like gypsy people eventually need to settle too because we live in a civilized country, and also being a traveling merchant has been outlawed in most states.
Becoming a traveling merchant kind of lost its magic when people could just ship shit across the country.
Yeah, which like it's one of those things. I don't know. Well, I know some of the gypsy what you call it, the gypsy stereotypes are over there. The stereotypes over here are different because we don't run circuses mainly. But
Yeah, over here the stereotypes are that you guys are hot and you know magic.
Heh.
no, that checks out.
Well,
I
over
mean,
here, the stereotype just stops there. It cuts out the negatives. It's just that we think you're a bunch of fucking sexy wizards.
I believe the word gypsy derives from a well it's all the whole Egyptian thing, but also oh no, it's the Hungarian word for gypsy, tigai, that derives from the name of a Greek sect of warlocks. So I guess this checks out.
Oh,
So yeah,
man. Oh,
and
no, I smell food.
ah,
Quickly, let's wrap this up.
all right,
I think I smell meatloaf.
but yeah,
Oh man.
a lot of gypsy work related stuff kind of closed down with globalization because gypsies were known for two things, being two things: traveling merchants who made their stuff by hand, and traveling musicians. There is no you don't need a traveling merchant anymore, and who the fuck pays musicians nowadays? You
They
know?
didn't pay him back then.
Yeah, but it is very funny though you when you listen to folk songs, Hungarian and Gypsy folk songs, which a lot of them have been kind of morphed into the same. But regardless, a lot of Hungarian folk songs will either start or have somewhere in the lyrics start playing Gypsy, as in ordering the gypsy that's making the music to make the music.
Good lord.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, the Animal Farm was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna I'm probably gonna move on to reading either Robin Hood or because I have downloaded both e-reading stuff and some classics, so I can alternate between the two, so I don't just get completely burnt out. I'm gonna give Robin Hood a try because I haven't read the old Robin Hood tales without the French stuff. But I haven't read any Robin Hood tales. But I definitely haven't read the actual like old Robin Hood stuff without the French stuff, which might also be in this. I don't know. And I kind of want to just for historical knowledge, more or less.
Yeah.
And then I also have Sherlock Holmes, which I just like crime, and I don't
The
like
old
those
Sherlock
stories. So
Holmes.
whatever.
The
Yeah.
old Sherlock Holmes are good.
All right. Yeah. I look forward to those. And I
I
also have I also have easy reading stuff like Pride and Prejudice and Of Mice and Men. And
Mice and Men. I know the ending. That I know the important part.
ah,
Uh, do you have Hound of the Baskervilles? That's the one Sherlock story I can tell you I definitely read.
I'm not sure. I don't have separate Sherlock stories. I have one compilation of Sherlock stories. So maybe.
Hound of the Baskervilles is probably in there. It's probably the most famous Sherlock story, though it's considered a fun one in large part because Sherlock is not present for most of the story.
Ah, nice.
It is largely Watson kind of having his own, like being forced out on his own and trying to operate without Sherlock.
Ah, that does sound interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. It's also interesting because it's like one of the only Sherlock stories that deals with the supernatural.
Ah, so that ties into the Cthulhu game that they made.
Kind of, yeah, there's a little bit, there's definitely some senses there of like, this place is fucked, let's get out of here.
Yeah. And what else do I have? I also have Crime and Punishment. That's it. I also have that. Which I feel like,
Well, as it happens, only, well, this is probably a month ago that this happened. I haven't started reading it. But my sister gave me a copy of Crime and Punishment that I need to get around to reading.
ah,
Have you done any reading, Pink?
No, I'm not a nerd.
Me no book good.
we need to send
Pull up
Pink
the
we
what is
need to
that?
send Pink hardcover book, and it's just like 300 pages of Kenny's ass.
Yeah,
Me
picture
book
books.
good.
Those are the best books.
Pink, were you about to make a reference to Mike's favorite Star Trek line?
No, because I wouldn't know it because I don't watch Star Trek because I'm not a nerd.
Mike's definitely mentioned it several times. It's, I want to say, is Q the dude that's God, Addy?
I think so.
There is a bit where Q, I think, runs into who's the Klingon dude?
Worf.
Worf. There we go. Q runs into Worf, and I guess Worf says something really brutish to him, and Q's response is, "Eat any good books lately?"
Nice. Uh, I'm also just imagining like an actual like taking an actual like classic piece of literature, like I don't know what, but just taking any long book and just reformatting it so it always when you look at the verse for it, it just always from Cammy's ass.
Okay, I've come up with an idea. Like, just have a little print of it over the page number or something, so that whenever Pink gets bored reading the book, he can look back at Cammy's ass, and it wakes him back up, and he can continue.
Yeah, or it's an audio book. Maybe just edit Cammy's ass to read out the book to Pink. Like the fucking the Ace Ventura bit.
Colonel, I'm trying. I'm trying. I'm trying to read this audiobook, but the clap of my ass cheeks. I don't know where I'm going here.
The clap of my ass cheeks keeps obscuring the words it's making.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Oh, blimey. So yeah. So yeah. Eventually, I'll read through those books. Probably not anytime soon, considering that I believe I checked out. I want to say, fucking hell, which one is it? Which one's written by Dostoevsky?
Crime and Punishment, written by Dostoevsky.
Like I have one book by Dostoevsky, and I checked that one. It had like 1,000 pages, and I went okay.
It does, but I
Like that.
believe Dostoevsky is considered a pretty easy read.
I mean, even if he wasn't, I usually like it's a thing of like I don't read books except when I feel like reading a book, but then I read a book that's like 800 pages long. So
Yeah.
like it won't be a problem for me either which way. It's just how fast can I get around to it?
Yeah.
Like I've read through all of the Assassin's Creed books, and it's in short order. Well, not all of them, but I read through adaptations of the main four. I think are the ones I got, and those books overall are like I would say 1,200 pages
Oof.
when you combine them. Yeah, and I read through all of those in fairly short order because I got two of those books from my school for my birthday, and then I got two of those from my sister. But yeah, that's also really funny, man. Like because usually when you get like prizes from school, it's whatever book. But my school actually went out of their way to buy me Assassin's Creed books. Because fuck it. Yeah. Uh, so yeah, I guess we can wrap it up then, because like I can't really tell you about the vacation because it's just okay. I've done a lot of walking. We went to a church today. It was a church. Looked nice, I
My
guess.
my
Uh, we
God.
we went to a pizzeria. It was a lot better than last year because last year we ate at another restaurant and it was shit, frankly.
Yeah.
And this pizzeria was actually decent and not too expensive. I ate a pizza for like $10.
All right.
So
That is actually about what a pizza would cost over here.
yeah, that's because I'm not in Hungary. I'm in Croatia.
Yeah.
There's also some dumb shit that I've seen like the sunglasses. Sunglasses cost 80 euros. 80 euros should be around 90 to $100, I think. Yeah, $100.
Holy shit, those better be some good fucking sunglasses.
Yeah.
You
So
gotta be
we didn't
careful,
buy
Goro
sunglasses.
might break those.
Yeah. I mean, the actually the actual like name brand ones usually cost that much, but at the same time, I'm not sure these were real name brand ones, and even if they were, fuck that. Like, I am very much in the camp of I don't give a fuck about whatever brand of shit I'm buying as long as it is of quality.
Are these
So
glasses
like,
that block out the sun? Alright, good enough.
yeah, pretty much. Uh, that's pretty much it. I mean, we might zip over to Italy depending on the budget, because there's like I want to say maybe three cities between us and Italy. So
Oof.
that's counting the Italian city, by the way. So like we need to go through Slovenia and Italy, and the only thing there's only one town in Slovenia that we need to press through.
Slovenia is just a tiny little kidney bean in the map of Europe.
I mean, not really. It's just that for whatever reason, there's this one arm of it that reaches down here, and it's only that one town, and like it's a beach, and that's
Huh.
it. Yeah.
Well, if you're hitting the far eastern side of Italy, won't you be quite close to Venice?
Yes, but that's still a lot of mileage, or like in kilometer range.
It is,
Like
and if
I know
there's
that.
any place in Italy that's going to be upcharging for tourists, it's definitely Venice.
Yes, there will also definitely be at least eight gypsies ready to slice your buckets for money.
I'm not worried about them, but I hear Venice has horrible rat problems.
I mean probably it's
Because,
Venice.
as it turns out, they quite like the swimming.
Yeah, but rats can't swim. How come?
Oh, god damn it.
Can swim.
Where did that even come from, that stupid rats can't swim thing?
I think Pet said that.
Oh, of course he fucking said it.
Uh, so yeah, uh, but that's very much a thing of like, well, if time allows and the budget allows, then we might do it. Probably not though.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I think we set off tomorrow night. It should be tomorrow or the day after tomorrow morning for y'all, and then another 16 hours in the car until I'm back home.
Alright.
So yeah, hopefully by Tuesday I'll be back home and also not completely dead. Which by the way, like I woke up, I wanna say at 9 a.m. on Wednesday, and then I went to sleep uh at midnight on Friday. So you know, traveling.
Yeah. And with that, Addie, I must ask you to say bye. Though it occurs to me
All
now
right,
this is a dangerous arrangement, as you could simply hang up the phone, and then me and Pink would be
true.
trapped here forever.
It's a fact.
By law. The power that has been given to this man is too much.
This is messed up.
You know, I was
That it
gonna use
is.
the soundboard, but apparently I can't access the soundboard fast enough from the phone client. So whatever. Bye.
Oh, alright, well, in that case,
Fucking bullshit!
there you go. Hulk
Yeah.
Hogan could have whooped his ass, apparently.
Uh,
I
I mean,
actually don't know if
like
that was said. I can't see his
Ah.
posts.
I see. Yeah, like I said last time, if Hulk Hogan suddenly dies, we know who did it.
Yeah. The shake baby back, Bubba. It was a trick.
No, he formed a corporeal form just to strangle Hulk Hogan and then leave.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you later, folks.